The mall was colder than usual that morning, not from air conditioning humming through the polished marble halls, but from the kind of chill that settles when you know something's about to go wrong. I brought my son, Jamal, to this fancy boutique before, back when he was just 13. He'd refused to try anything on then, said the mirrors in places like this didn't reflect folks like us. But today was different. At 17, Jamal was taller than me, sharper, stronger in ways I couldn't put into words. He had a Harvard or VYEW, tomorrow full scholarship on the line, if he could wow them. For that, he wanted a white shirt. Not just any shirt, but one that made people stop judging before he opened his mouth. "Dad, I want to walk in like I belong," he said. Those words hit me like a freight train, because I'd spent my whole life chasing that same feeling. We stepped into the boutique, all spotless floors and soft jazz, where the hangers don't squeak and the salespeople size you up before they speak. Jamal ran his fingers along a row of crisp, white shirts, Egyptian cotton, Dula, $320 a pop. He paused at one with a faint blue thread on the collar, subtle but sharp. He turned to me, eyes bright with hope. "Can I try it on?" I grinned. "Son, you can wear whatever you damn well please." He clutched that shirt like it held his future and slipped into the fitting room. That's when I saw her. She strutted in, heels clicking like gunfire, wrapped in a silver silk dress that screamed money. Her face was powdered to perfection, but her eyes carried a hatred that no makeup could hide. She scanned the store like she owned it, and when her gaze landed on Jamal stepping out of the fitting room, she froze. My heart sank. I'd seen that look before. Nothing good ever comes after it. The white shirt fit Jamal like it was made for him, slim through the arms, collar crisp, tucked in like he was ready to argue a case in court. He didn't notice her, too busy adjusting his cuffs, flashing me a nervous smile. But I saw her, and I knew the storm was coming. Her name was Linda, but she was every bit the type I'd met before. HOA, queens with perfume and pearls, hiding venom behind fake smiles. She didn't see a kid with dreams. She saw something she thought didn't belong, and she was already plotting how to erase it. Her heels sliced the air as she marched over, voice cracking through the jazz like a whip. "Excuse me, is he being helped?" The salesgirl froze, like someone had just lit a fuse. "Ma'am, he's a customer." Linda's laugh was sharp, dripping with condescension. "Oh, honey, I've lived in this district for 20 years. I know who shops here, and I know who doesn't." Jamal turned, confused but polite. "I'm just trying this on, ma'am." Linda stepped closer, eyes narrowing. Trying, or planning to run with it? I moved fast, stepping between them. "Back off." She tilted her head, like I was a stray dog. "And who are you supposed to be?" My voice stayed low, steady. "The man who'll break your hand if you touch him." Her eyes flickered, but her mouth kept running. Typical. You raise them like animals, then act surprised when they bite. The room went dead. No music, no movement, just the spark before an explosion. I could see it in her eyes. She wanted Jamal to snap, to give her an excuse to call security, to scream dangerous and violent. But my boy didn't bite. He stood there, gripping the hem of that shirt like it was his last offense, and that made her furious. She stepped too close. I moved to block her, but she pointed a finger at Jamal's chest like a knife. "You think a white shirt makes you one of us? Makes you clean?" Her voice was loud, venomous, meant to cut deep. "You people don't wear shirts like that. You wear baggy jeans and mug shots. This is theft." Jamal didn't speak. He looked at me, and that's when she did it. She spat a thick, wet glob of contempt that hit his collarbone, staining the white shirt. Then she slapped him, a loud, echoing crack. Jamal stumbled into a display of ties, catching himself before he fell, but the pain was clear, burning red across his cheek. The store gasped. Linda didn't. She grinned, smug, and said there, "Much better. A naked ape pretending to be a man. At least now he looks the part." Then she grabbed his shirt and tore it, ripping it down the middle. Buttons scattered, fabric screamed. Jamal stood exposed, chest heaving, eyes wide, sweat mixing with shame. I saw the tears he tried to hide. Something in me snapped. I stepped forward, hand steady, voice like a blade. "That's enough." Linda spun, unbothered. "You gonna hit me now, Daddy? Go ahead, show everyone how you animals handle things." She smiled, that polished, poisonous smile that had probably ruined more lives than fists ever could. Nobody moved. Nobody stopped her. So I did. I placed a hand on Jamal's shoulder to steady him, then reached for her. Not her face, not her throat, but that silver silk dress, her armor of self-worship. I grabbed it at the back and ripped. The zipper tore open, the gown crumpling to her knees, Leah vying her in a beige slip. She shrieked, clutching at the scraps. "Are you insane? This is assault." "No," I said, stepping closer. "This is a start." The crowd stirred. A girl started recording. Another whispered, "He's doing it." I scooped up the fallen dress, twisting it like a rope. "You use clothes to humiliate my son," I growled. "Now your dress will carry your shame." Linda stumbled back, fear creeping into her eyes for the first time. "Get away from me." Somebody stop him. But nobody did, not the manager, not the security guard, not the customers watching in silence, not even the teenager live streaming to thousands. They'd seen where she did the spit, the slap, the torn shirt. Now they saw a reckoning. Linda spun, clutching her slip, hair falling from its perfect updo. "You touch me again, I'll ruin you. You'll be on food stamps by Monday." I stepped forward. "Lady, you've been bankrupt your whole life. You just didn't know it." I grabbed her wrist, not to hurt, just to pull her forward, to make her feel powerless. Then I looped the twisted dress behind her back, tying her hands tight, a silk straitjacket made from her own arrogance. "You humiliated my son in public," I said, voice low. "Now you'll know what it feels like." She kicked at me. I sidestepped, caught her shoulder, and marched her across the store, her heels scraping the tile, her dignity trailing behind. We reached the staircase. I pulled her up, 2 steps at a time, each one dragging her closer to the justice she'd earned. Customers followed, some filming, others whispering, "She deserves it." At the top, I looped the silk dress over the balcony rail. Linda twisted, screaming, "You're insane. This is illegal." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You built this moment with every word you've used to tear someone down. Now you hang by them." I tied the knot tight and clean. The silver dress stretched over the rail, suspending her by the waist, dangling her like a chandelier of shame. Gasps echoed below. Phones were up, live streams rolling. Linda screamed, "Put me down. This is a hate crime." That word hate from her mouth almost made me laugh. "You want to talk about hate?" I said, leaning close. "You spat on a child, slapped him, tore his shirt, called him an animal. You're not hanging because of hate. You're hanging because nobody made you answer for it." A mother below hugged her daughter tighter. A man took off his hat. Linda kicked, her slip riding up, but still decent. She shouted, "You'll lose everything." I leaned closer, voice calm, final. "I've already lost too much to silence. Today I speak." The crowd grew. Security lingered, hesitant. Nobody wanted to cut her down. They knew she'd earned this. A woman's voice rose from below. "You were a monster. Now you're a mirror." Another added, "This isn't violence. This is silence screaming back." Linda's breathing turned shallow, her body trembling as the weight of exposure crushed her pride. I looked at Jamal, still shirtless, the red mark from her slap burning on his cheek. He met my eyes. No fear, just clarity. He'd never forget this, not the pain, but that someone stood when nobody else did. The applause started, slow, then thundering through the mall. Linda hung above it, trembling, eyes darting in disbelief. She wasn't used to consequences. "What's wrong with you all?" she screamed. "You're letting this happen." But nobody moved. A woman stepped forward, pearls around her neck, voice like steel. "I live in your HOA. I've seen you call black kids trespassers on their own porches. Today you earned this." A young man added, "You reported my autistic sister for making noises. I was 12. I never forgot." I stepped to the railing. "You've ruled by silence for years. But today this mall speaks. You're just a story we'll tell our kids about how not to be." A security guard approached, slow, respectful. "We need to take her down," he said. "But I saw everything. You didn't start it. You ended it." Linda sobbed, rage and collapse mixing. Jamal nodded, not crying, not shaking. The crowd didn't see a boy in a torn shirt anymore. They saw a man worth defending. The mall emptied. Security cut Linda down, avoiding her eyes. She didn't scream or threaten anymore. She was silent, not by choice, but because nobody listened. Jamal and I left quietly, his torn shirt in hand, stained, ruined, but sacred. That night, he sat on his bed, holding it like it mattered more than ever. "I want to keep it," he said. "Not to wear, but to remember." Then he looked at me, eyes steady. "What if we took pieces from other shirts, other kids, other stories, and stitched them into something nobody could ignore?" The next morning, we started a movement. We asked for torn shirts, tattered uniforms, scraps of dignity shredded by racism and humiliation. They came from everywhere. Everywhere: hoodies accused of cheating, jackets torn in profiling, baby clothes, ties scarred from silence teachers. Within a month, we had enough to build a flag, stitched from pain, bound by defiance, raised not in protest, but presence. At the unveiling, Jamal stood on stage, new white shirt crisp, torn one in hand. "This flag isn't about what was taken," he said. "It's about what we took back." An old woman handed him a blue cloth her grandson's, pushed out of honors English. Jamal took it with honor, no pity, just strength. Months later, the VY Deo of Linda went VY Rel. Some called me a hero, others reckless. Her lawyer screamed assault, but the courts saw context. She was fined, kicked off her HOA, ordered to racial bias classes. She hasn't spoken publicly since. But people don't remember her. They remember the boy with no shirt and the father who broke the silence. One night, Jamal showed me a message from a kid in Michigan pulled from class for questioning a whitewashed reading list. "I saw your flag," he wrote. "I'm sewing my piece. I want to be part of something they can't tear. Hate is loud, but healing is quiet, stitched thread by thread, shirt by shirt, name by name." Jamal could have let that day break him, but he chose to build. Every tear leaves a thread, and those threads bind, connect, rebuild stronger. That's the lesson. We don't choose what breaks us, but we choose what we build from the pieces. So, what would you have done if someone humiliated your child like that? Would you have stayed silent, or would you have made them answer for it? If you've ever been torn down and still stood, drop "still standing" in the comments or share your story. Did I go too far, or was it justice? Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a story that makes you feel seen. Silence has protected the wrong people too long. All it takes is one torn shirt, one parent who won't look away, and one kid who stitches instead of burns. What will you stitch from your scars?